This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Night Takes Pawn, Book 1 of the Red Knight series by Martha Sweeney, to make the story appropriate for all listeners on YouTube. Read to you by the author. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided below in the description. Chapter 23, Red. Ryan and I haven't said much to each other the past few days. Not that we chat all the time like friends or lovers. I know that he's not happy with the fact that I haven't told him what's been bothering me, but I don't care. It's not like we share our hopes, dreams, or concerns, so I don't know why he's still so pissy about it. I hope he stops acting like a little girl and gets over being angry. There is tension between the two of us, like always, but it feels like there's more of a strain in our relationship, if you can even call it that. I've been listening in more when anyone around me talks about Jagger's business, even if I'm not meant to be a part of the conversation. From what I'm hearing, there have been some extra challenges that Jagger and the guys have been dealing with. When I look at Ryan, I can see that he's torn about something, maybe many things. I don't doubt that most of it deals with what he has to do for Jagger. Breaker continues to be an ass to everyone, but I also notice that he's deliberately trying to rile up some people more than usual, especially when Jagger isn't around. I do my best not to add to Ryan's frustration. Anytime I see Ryan talking to the sex slave I caught him with, I give him the cold shoulder. I try not to let it get to me, but it does. I find myself feeling more insecure about my position, not understanding why he's sleeping with her and not me. I'm being silly, I know that. Why should I care who he's dacking? I just don't get it. If he wants her, then why doesn't he let me go so she can take my place? Can he dismiss me so easily? Do I want her to take my place? I like how things are, and I need to protect my status here. If sleeping with him will guarantee me that protection, then I'm willing to do it. Tonight, when I see Ryan leave to handle something at the club, I watch him from the window and spot him talking to that girl again. I'm surprised that for a newer sex slave, she's able to move as freely as she does on the main floor. From what I know and have heard, it takes a long while before one of the girls gets that kind of free access to come and go around the building. I know that I've got a higher position than most, considering what has been said in the sanctuary, but I just can't roam around as easily. I guess Ryan still thinks I might run. Though my eyes are watching the people down in the club, my ears are listening in on the conversations around me, hoping to hear more about Jagger's business and how he runs the place, or if there's any indication of what Ryan does when we're here. I learned a few days ago that all of the drinks that are served to the patrons are laced with a drug to keep them subdued and to keep them just high enough that many things that happen within Jagger's Sovereign goes unnoticed. Breaker was drinking that night and was boasting to a few new male recruits as to how the Jaruians, as he calls them, are constantly drugged by their water supply. I stopped drinking as soon as I heard that, but resumed cautiously when I learned that the main house supply of drinks that are meant for Jagger and his main crew are clean. I make a note to ask Ryan about it when we're alone. I know that he doesn't really drink and just pretends to drink the hard liquor. I wonder if that's safer to drink than the water. I've also learned that there's apparently a rebellion that's been taking place within Jagger's Sovereign and how he's been using his sex slaves to get information. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of the men I've killed have been a part of that rebellion. Also, apparently there have been some challenges with the other two sovereigns, including the one I'm from. Rumor has it that they're the ones responsible for the rebellion and are trying to end Jagger's reign. Regardless if that's true, I'm not sure if it'll be just like my father described, where one person or group wants one thing and will force it on others. I'm not a fan of everything that Jagger does, but at least many of us are living fairly decent lives compared to most. Even under Jagger's rule, things are better than when I lived with my parents. Even the poor here have access to more food than I did when I was with my family. Red, a female voice calls from behind me. I catch myself almost replying with a word. I spin to find Cherie. Some of the girls need some help with something. Why don't you come and give us a hand? She suggests. I smile and nod, eager to leave the room. I know what she's hinting towards, and I'd rather be in the sanctuary taking care of myself and my sisters, rather than stay here and waiting for Ryan to return. For at least the next hour, I'm naked and my body is tangled with several of the other girls as we pleasure each other. I still long to be decked by a man, but some of the girls really know how to work the sex toys that we have in the room. When I'm about to orgasm, one of the girls informs me that Jagger is looking for me. All of their attention turns towards me, and they make sure I finish before allowing me to get up and return to my duties. I freshen up and get dressed before being escorted to Jagger. "This one is special, Red," Jagger states in the hallway. I nod. He usually says there's something special about them. "No," he chuckles. "A different kind of special." My head tilts to the side as my brow furrows. "He's one of the rebels," Jagger informs. I think my mouth opens in shock. Jagger never shares this kind of information about the men he wants me to kill. He might say that the client is a challenge and doesn't want to deal with it anymore. "Don't worry," Jagger soothes. "He doesn't know we know." He thinks he's being rewarded for performing well. My head bobs slightly to show my understanding. "I want you to have extra fun with this one," Jagger states. "Drag it out. Make him beg for you to stop. Make him bleed. Slowly." Jagger hands me a pocket knife. My eyes study the jagged blade for a few seconds. A feeling of remorse enters my gut, and I start to question myself about this man Jagger wants me to kill, and if he's really done anything wrong. Could the rebellion really be trying to make things better? "What's going on in that pretty little head of yours, Red?" Jagger asks, snapping me back to reality. I smile and shake my head. "Are you wondering if he should be killed?" Jagger checks. My eyes harden and my head shakes. I can't have him questioning me and my ability. Even if I don't like having to kill someone who may be innocent, I'm about self-preservation first. "Were you plotting how you were going to kill him?" Jagger inspects eagerly with a smile. My smile widens to convince him more. "Wonderful," Jagger replies, clasping his hands together. "He's already waiting in there for you." He points to the door on my right. As I turn to make my way in, I see Ryan coming down the hall with that woman again. He's holding her by her upper arm, taking her to a room. My resolve thickens, and I make my way to fulfill my duty. "Hi," the man greets, with a beautiful smile. His appearance catches me off guard slightly. I do my best to appear happy to see him rather than surprised. He's much younger than any of the others Jagger has had me kill. I would say he's probably close to Ryan's age. "This is new for me," he states bashfully. I'm not sure if he means new pertaining to sex, having sex with a slave, or being killed. "I mean," he says, clearing his throat, "I've had sex, just, that." He stops talking when I walk slowly toward him and smile. I know that Jagger is eagerly watching and waiting in the room next to us by the overly large mirror that is framed and visible in the corner of my eye. The man's hands stay at his side as I get closer and practically place my breasts on his chest. He awkwardly smiles, and I get the distinct impression that this man is no rebel. Despite my instincts, I know that I must carry out my duties, or else it's my life that might be on the line. I manage to play with him a little, riling him up, since I know that Jagger is probably jerking off to me toying with my victim. Jagger wants me to take my time, so I do my best to envision my victim as Breaker, to make it easier for me to follow through. I slowly walk around him, dragging the tips of my fingers along his body. He stays still, only turning his head to be able to watch me as I parade around him. At every point our eyes meet, I make sure that I'm always smiling at him. His young, musky smell is inviting, and I find myself becoming slightly aroused by him. There's something about him, his look and his scent, that reminds me of Ryan. The fact that he makes me think of Ryan, desire Ryan, makes me annoyed and excited at the same time. He tries to reach out and touch me at one point, but I swat him away and shake my finger at him. He doesn't seem to mind the playfulness. I slowly take his shirt off and enjoy the firmness of his chest. He's built and strong, but not as tempting as Ryan. I get him back against the base of the bed and push him so he falls flat onto it. He lifts his hands and takes a hold of my hips when I straddle him. I think about removing them, but I give him this last generosity, knowing that he's about to die. When his hands drift to my ass, I don't mind, but when they slip down the sides of my thighs, that's when I return them to my ass. There's no need for him to find the knife strapped to my upper inner thigh too soon. I press myself into him and lower my lips to his. He tastes sweet, almost that of innocence, but by the way he moves his tongue, I can tell he knows how to interact with a woman. I rock myself against his groin, envisioning Ryan below me as I continue. His mouth moves to my breasts when I lean forward to grab one of the fabric pieces of the canopy. My nipples tighten at the sensation of his tongue getting closer to them. "Dak, you're so hot," he groans into my breasts. I sit up and smile, showing him the fabric. He gives me a questioning glance, but seems excited when I start to wrap it around his left arm. "Kinky," he chuckles. Once I get his other arm secure, I indulge him, and myself a little more. Our tongues dance, and at some point my lips trail down to his chest, all the way to the top of his waistline. After I remove his pants, leaving him with nothing on but his underwear and a stiffy, I then proceed to tie up his legs. I get back on top of him, straddling him at his waist, to give myself the most leverage for my next maneuver. His eyes widen when his brain finally registers the knife in hand as I hold it up for him to see. "Wait, no!" he shouts. I smile, pretending as if I'm not going to really hurt him, but I'm sure he's figured it out by now. "No!" he yells. "Don't!" His arms and legs tug at their restraints. I shrug my shoulders and slowly lower the knife towards his skin. He bucks up underneath of me, but I'm able to hold him still. In one quick fluid movement, I slash the blade down into his bicep. He cries out in pain and continues to beg me to stop. Something takes over me, something completely different than from all the other times that I've had to kill someone. I don't know this man. I don't know if he's innocent or not. It doesn't matter to me. All I can see is Breaker's face and hear Breaker's screams as I continue to plunge the knife into his body each time. His voice goes silent when I slam the knife into his chest one final time, hitting him right in his heart. His eyes twinkle and fade to black as the life leaves his frame. Suddenly, I feel sick to my stomach as the man's face reappears in my line of vision. I just killed a man when it should be someone else. All of the other men I've killed, I could see their dirty, filthy, dark souls in their eyes. But this man, I saw barely a man looking back at me. Someone who should not have died at such an early age. "Wonderful, my little Red," Jagger's voice booms, pulling me from my thoughts. I quickly remove myself from the bed and push to force a blank expression on my face before I look at him. "It was simply beautiful. Art. A beautiful piece of art your work was," Jagger boasts. "Wasn't it, boys?" My eyes jump from him to the other men entering the room. I see Breaker and two of the guards who usually monitor the floor. "Look at that," Jagger directs, pointing to the victim. My victim. "Such rage. Such passion. I think this was your best work yet, Red." My gaze shifts back a little at the dead man, and all I see is red. Blood everywhere. Breaker steals a look in my direction. Dagger deserved it, too. He moves toward me. "Nice work, Red." I don't move and just watch Breaker's face. "Did we get this one on video?" Jagger asks suddenly. "Not sure," one of the guards returns. "Come, let's check," Jagger directs. I really want the whole crew to see Red's marvelous work. My body shivers as the event replays in my mind in slow motion. "Nice work," Breaker says again, breaking the silence. My eyes veer from his momentarily and take in the fact that we're alone in the room. "How about we satisfy your other need?" Breaker says, brushing a strand of my hair out of my face. I swat his hand away. "Listen here, Red," Breaker says through gritted teeth as he pins me against the wall with his hand wrapped around my throat. "Don't dack with me, bitch. I will have you if I want." I feel a wicked smirk pop on my face just before my knee launches up and clips Breaker in the groin. He staggers backward with a few steps, and I raise my right hand and smack him across the face, knocking him further into the ground. I take a step around Breaker, but my body is suddenly flung into the wall from a blow I didn't expect. Stars dance in my eyes as I try to get my balance. When my vision clears, I see that Breaker is having a little trouble himself. I fix my stance, ready to strike Breaker, wanting to put him in his place. "I'm so disappointed, Red," Jagger says, entering the room. He stops to look at me for several long seconds. "Is everything okay?" he asks sternly, looking to me, then to Breaker, who is standing now. I smile and nod as I envision Breaker dying sometime soon by my hands. "Fine," Breaker adds. "What happened?" Jagger pushes. "Red felt a little woozy," Breaker says. "I think she's had a rush from the kill." "Is that true, Red?" Jagger checks. I smile and nod to agree with the lie. "You sure?" Jagger pries like a concerned father. I reassure him with a larger smile and take his arm, lacing mine through it for support. "Come, my little Red," Jagger says sweetly. "Let's get you washed up and then something to drink." This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full, unabridged version, You can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.